Alright guys, what's going on? In this video, I'm going to be discussing whether or not it's realistic that Bitcoin will go above $250,000 this cycle. This is something that I've been thinking about a lot recently because I've been looking at people's price predictions since we've had this little crash, and I've been giggling a little bit because a lot of people were making these huge, bold price predictions just before this crash. And then since we've had this crash, they've suddenly all reeled them back. They've gone from saying, it's going to like 300K, 400K, whatever. And now they're saying, I think it's going to go to maybe, 150, 200 max. And I find it very interesting because a lot of people base their price predictions basically just around the hype of the market. They feel hyped up, the market's going crazy, and then they're like, oh yeah, it's definitely, this feels like it's going to go to 250, 300K. And there are a lot of different arguments which make sense as to why it could go to those kind of prices. And I would never discount any argument because it's crypto. We know crypto's crazy and anything can happen. But we've got to think realistically because at the end of the day, we are basing our decisions on the Bitcoin price. Now, even if you trade altcoins, you may be thinking, what do you mean I base my decisions based upon the Bitcoin price? I base it upon the altcoin prices. Well, Bitcoin leads the way, and we use Bitcoin to determine where in the cycle we are and for how much longer the cycle will go on for. So regardless of whether you're in altcoins or whether you're in Bitcoin, at the end of the day, you need to pay attention to the Bitcoin price. So what are some of the arguments that are pro Bitcoin hitting 250K plus? Well, first off, a lot of people are saying that this cycle is different because there's a lot of different institutions buying in. Donald Trump's just said that the USA is getting involved. There's so much positive news. The big smart money's getting involved. And that means there's so much more money in this cycle. And actually, they've all been buying OTC, which means over the counter. So the buys that they've been making haven't yet affected the prices. So even though the prices seem a bit low, once that all kind of gets updated and those prices get realized, suddenly there's not actually going to be that much Bitcoin left to buy, and that means the price is going to go so high. And that all makes sense logically. But at the same time, I was thinking to myself, 250 is a very long way away. And whilst, yes, big institutions are buying up large quantities, that is true, they are buying up OTC, etc. I imagine that still it must have some impact on the price. So even though they are buying up large quantities, crypto is on chain, so people are aware of what is kind of going on, to an extent at least. But regardless, let's say that those buys have a big impact on the market and it sends Bitcoin up. Are they really going to send Bitcoin to 250K? I'm not so sure. But let's say they make a big impact on the market. What other factors are determining or influencing Bitcoin's price going to 250? Well, of course, at some point there will be a big influx of retail, although it seems like retail at the moment just loves to get messed up in the altcoins and lose all their money. But regardless, retail always finds a way to get money, whether it be credit cards, loans, whatever, asking family members. Retail money always appears. Whether it will be enough money to get the price up that high, I'm not too sure. Now, we've already had the news about the USA buying crypto or creating their strategic reserve. So I would imagine that's already priced in. It hasn't seemed to have made that big of a difference to the price. We're still in this big dip. But regardless, people already knew that was coming. So, okay, they've finally kind of confirmed it. It's been signed off on. But at the end of the day, that's kind of old news now. We already knew about that. So what other big catalysts are there? Well, people are hoping that the USA is suddenly going to start buying more Bitcoin and adding it to their reserve. I don't really know why they would need to. They've already just added 200 and something thousand Bitcoin. I don't know why they suddenly just start buying it all up. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But there's a difference between keeping the Bitcoin you already have and then convincing Congress and the US public that it's actually a good idea to spend public funds on buying more Bitcoin. So I don't think that is something that's going to happen so immediately. Now, another thing to kind of take into consideration is, why are we assuming that all these companies, countries, etc. are going to start buying during this bull market? Because let's say the bull market has 6 months left, 8 months left, 10 months left, a year left. If I was a country or a company, any kind of, let's say, smart money, why would I buy during the middle of the Bitcoin bull run? I mean, Michael Saylor seems to love buying in the middle of the bull run, but I would personally just wait. Or if I was actually influential, like a lot of these people have a lot of money, these big entities, why wouldn't you just crash the market? Wait till the price gets really high, wreck the market, wait a little while, and then start doing your buys. Logically, I think that makes sense. These guys have the power, they have the influence, and they have the ability to do this. So why wouldn't you? If you're really serious about picking up a load of Bitcoin, I wouldn't be doing it during the bull run. I'd be trying to wreck it after the bull run. Now, that kind of takes me to my next point. So all of these big companies, big entities, whatever, hedge funds, countries, etc., especially the hedge funds, they operate differently to you and I. So we just buy something and we hold it. Well, let's not go to any assumptions because everyone's a bit different and we like to do crazy things as retail. But when hedge funds and stuff speak about crypto, they always say things like this: guys, we're going to put a 2% allocation, or we're going to have a 2% allocation into Bitcoin, or a 5% allocation into Bitcoin. Let's say that one of these hedge funds has a 2% Bitcoin allocation. Well, if the Bitcoin price doubles, what happens then? Suddenly, Bitcoin would make up 4% of their portfolio. Well, if they have decided that they only want a 2% Bitcoin allocation, then they will go and sell that additional 2% and spread it across their other assets. This allows them to protect themselves against, let's say, for example, Bitcoin falling in price. And that would be a probably very good decision because, as we know, once Bitcoin gets hot, it tends to have big dips afterwards and even go into bear markets. So it would be kind of smart for a company to protect themselves. Now, Bitcoin maxis are probably saying, no, Bitcoin's the best thing, it's the strongest thing, they should just keep that. But that's not how it works. Those companies aren't there to make a load of money and then lose it all and give it back to the market. They're there to make money and then keep that money. So they tend to rebalance. So this idea that all these big hedge funds, companies, they're coming in, they're going to buy everything and then just hold it forever. Guys, be realistic. We know that's not how these kind of companies function. So when you are hearing all of these big price predictions, especially when it comes out of the hedge funds and stuff, think to yourself, are these hedge funds really diamond hands? I mean, they're buying up a lot of it, but are they just going to hold it even through a bear market? Or are they potentially, when they're up 100, 200, 300%, are they potentially going to take some profits and maybe, spread it across other things that aren't so volatile? If you agree with me that the answer is probably yes, then potentially crypto might not go that high, because when the diamond hands, when the people, not the diamond hands, but when the people start selling, suddenly this has an impact on the market. When people start taking profits, suddenly the market can start turning, especially if they're selling a lot. Also remember that in crypto, you only need one thing to go wrong, just one, and the whole market can be turned upside down, like we're seeing at the moment. Nothing has even really gone that wrong, and yet the market has absolutely tanked and been destroyed. So what's to say that won't happen when the market is pumping? If we look at history, it usually happens exactly like that. The market is pumping, everything's going well. And then, what happened last cycle? Elon just said, actually, we're going to sell some of our Bitcoin. And the whole market literally just tanked. I can't remember if that was the comment that made the whole cycle end, or if that caused the first dip. But regardless, one comment from one person literally caused a huge crash. Now, he doesn't seem to have that much pull this cycle, but regardless, all it takes is one thing to go wrong in the world, and crypto starts crashing. Now imagine we've already had a massive pump, we're at like 180k, everyone's super optimistic, then there's a crash, the tables turn. What happens then? Suddenly everyone gets scared and starts selling. Oh no, it's the end of the cycle, I don't want to lose all of my gains. They start selling, Suddenly this 250k thing goes out of the window and all the influencers are just telling you to get out of the market, protect your money, and just make it and survive to the next cycle. So remember guys, during the bull market, there are going to be a lot of big price predictions, especially once prices start flying, because people suddenly get overconfident and they're like, wow, it's already made it to 150. Why not 250? Why wouldn't it go there? Why couldn't it go there? And what tends to happen as well, guys, is the big entities, the hedge funds, etc., they start putting out overly confident price predictions, not because they believe it, because they want you to hold your bags and buy more whilst they are selling off. So they don't want you guys affecting the price. No, they want you guys to assume the price is going up forever. And in the meantime, they're going to sell their bags, take a load of profit, and then watch the market crash. Now, I'm not saying they are directly responsible for the price crashing, but best believe they are not waiting for the price to crash to sell their bags. They will want to get out earlier, and they will do everything in their power to keep you, let's say, mesmerized, a bit kind of confused, whatever, assuming that it's going to go up forever. And then, what do you know? Crash, bang, it's all done. And that crash comes way quicker than you expect. Now, if you don't believe me about what I've just said, remember that last cycle or the cycle before, JP Morgan literally said, we will fire anyone of our employees that decides to buy and participate in cryptocurrency. Meanwhile, they were actively participating in buying cryptocurrency. They were just saying this to keep the prices low so that they could buy more. Which sounds crazy, it sounds like it should be illegal, but apparently it's not, and that's just how it works. So it is what it is. One final point I would like to make is the fact that, guys, when the prices start going crazy, everyone, not everyone, a lot of people start putting on big leveraged longs. So what this means is they go and start leverage trading. As a result of this, the market gets full of leverage. And what happens is, let's say, for example, everyone believes that Bitcoin's going to keep going higher. They all whack on these big leverage longs. If the market suddenly takes a turn and goes to the downside, all of these people start getting liquidated, and it's almost like a cascade. Like one gets liquidated, or the first set get liquidated, their stop loss gets hit, then the price falls further. This causes the next set of stop losses to get hit. This process continues again and again and again, and eventually the leverage gets flushed out of the market. But this literally causes the price to just continue crashing and crashing and crashing, which is why in crypto we see way bigger crashes than a lot of other markets. This is because people go on different websites and they trade with a lot of leverage in crypto. So if you're wondering why we get these huge ups and these huge downs, it's usually because people are trading with a lot of leverage, and when they get liquidated, the price goes up crazy or down crazy. So guys, to conclude this video, could Bitcoin go to 250k plus? Yeah, it could do. It genuinely could do. With the amount of interest, with the amount of people buying, with the regulatory clarity, there are a lot of things in Bitcoin's favor this cycle. But remember, whilst all of these positive things that are in Bitcoin's favor, all of these new buyers, etc., may start buying, there's no guarantee that they're going to do it exactly now during this bull run. For example, governments, hedge funds, etc., it seems like they're all buying now because it's all in the news and it's hype, but don't think that everyone is suddenly selling everything they have and buying crypto. Yes, normal people maybe, but big institutions, they don't just FOMO in. Apart from Michael Saylor, the other ones tend to wait. Now, whether they will do that or not, we'll have to see. I'm sure some will FOMO in, but realistically, a lot of them will probably wait for the prices to drop back down, and then we'll start creating their plan on how to buy Bitcoin how to store it, and what they want to do. So guys, that's it for this video. Let me know in the comments if you guys believe that Bitcoin's going 250k plus this cycle. I personally think we're going to hit a really nice number, something crazy like 180k, but I don't see it getting to 250k without something going wrong, without the market dumping for some reason. I could be completely wrong. I hope I am. If I'm wrong, we make way more money, but I'm realistic based upon the previous cycle and how all the news was so positive, but it only took the smallest thing to suddenly bring the market down. And it appears this cycle, it's no different, especially after this big crash. People have suddenly had a wake-up call that, this is still cryptocurrency and anything can happen on any day for the smallest reason. So guys, don't start dreaming too much. Don't start going a bit too over the top. Look at this last recent crash. Remember the fact that regardless of how much they normalize crypto, it is still crypto. It is still the Wild West, and big moves to the upside and to the downside are to be expected. So guys, let me know what you think. Give me your price predictions down below in the comments, and I'll catch you again in the next video. Subscribe to the channel.